Hi, welcome to Ammosmith. We're going to do an interesting cartridge conversion today, which is extremely simple and it'll save you a lot of money. And what we're going to convert is we're going to take a standard 9mm Luger, Parabellum, 9mm NATO, what have you, and we're going to take it and we're going to convert it into a 9x18 Makarov. For some reason, Makarov brass is extremely expensive and it's hard to find. 9mm, standard 9mm, is all over the range. So here's what you're going to need. You need your 9x18 Makarov dies. I'm using Lee. You're going to need your press. It'll be good to take and have 9mm Makarov case, whether it's fired or not. It'll give you an idea what your overall length is going to be. I'm just using this as a template. And we'll get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our shell holder into the press, facing at 7 o'clock. And instead of putting in the sizing die first, we're going to put in our neck expanding die. Let me tell you why. The 9mm Makarov and the 9mm Parabellum have the exact same head diameter, dimensions, and they use the same shell holder. They use the number 19 shell holder. The 9x18 shoots a 36 caliber bullet, so it's straight walled. 9mm Parabellum shoots a 35 caliber bullet and is tapered. So all we're going to do is run the 9mm over the expanding die. We're going to do this to a couple of them. We're going to flare a few out. And then we're going to actually run it through the full-length sizing die. Now we're going to run the full-length sizing die in. Run the die down until the face of the die comes in contact with the shell holder. Give it a good twist. We don't need to put the bump on this, and the reason why you don't want to expand the die and have the carbide insert fall out. Now these cases are fired, remember, and we're not using full-length resized 9mm Parabellum. We're expanding them as fired off the range, and the reason is they have expanded to accommodate the chamber of the original pistol, and we want to make it wider still. So now that we've put it through the expanding die, we're going to run it through the full-length sizer. One of the nicer things is this 9mm Parabellum brass is a little bit thicker than 9mm Makarov brass. And the 9x18 working at lower pressure means this brass lasts you a lot longer. Now the thing is, you're going to have to make sure you segregate this stuff because it is going to say 9mm Parabellum on it. Okay, now that we've sized them, we need to trim them. We need to cut an entire millimeter off of them from the other ones. So I'm going to use my little hand lathe from Lyman here. C-clamp to the bench. And what I did was I took a new unfired case that I had already trimmed and trued up as my template. I chucked it into my little hand lathe, and then I indexed my set collars to only allow it to cut to the length of this guy right here, so that I know none of my cases are going to be any shorter or longer than this guy right here. Now we're going to take the 9mm that we had expanded, then put through the full-length 9x18 die, and we're going to finish the process of making a 9x18 by trimming it. You can hear it when the hand lathe stops cutting. Now the only thing you have left to do is to deburr it. the inside and on the outside. Now you have a perfectly good 9x18. Let me go ahead and trim another one. Remember, look for defects, cracks, splits, or anything that may make it unserviceable in your weapon. Now we have another 9x18. This is probably the easiest handgun conversion. And now we're going to take some close-ups. I want to show you detailed close-ups of what we did, what it looks like before the 9mm turned into a 9x18 by the expanding, and we're going to go through the whole process up close. Here's a 9x19 Parabellum that's been resized but not trimmed, but it's full length resized. You can see the taper in the case. Here's another 9x19 Parabellum as picked up off the range. It expands quite a bit. And as we move down the line, here's the 9x19 Parabellum that's been put through the 9x18 Makarov neck expanding die. You can see that it took the rest of the taper out of the case to here and put a flare into the case. Now, 9x19 flared, put through the 9x18 full length resizing die. It has completely straightened the case out. The sizing die made contact from the mouth all the way to the web of the case where it should. So that is a perfect size right there. Now, here's the 9x19 case trimmed back a millimeter to make it a 9x18 Makarov. And right next to it is a factory made Makarov. They're identical in every way, except for this is just a tiny bit thicker, but you don't have to worry about doing any turning on it. It's not that much of a difference. And then our converted one with a bullet seated in it. That's how you make a 9x18 Makarov. Then once you fire it, just make sure you keep them segregated in a bag. And if you have only a 9x18 Makarov, you don't have to worry about it. Just pick up all that cheap free brass at the range, and you have all the 9x18s you want.